and welcome back. It's another edition of Insights with C5 Insight, and today we're talking about learning. So recently I had to renew one of my Microsoft certifications, and in the current space, once you've passed an exam, it's good for 12 months, and then you have to renew it for another 12-month add-on by taking a sort of a refresher assessment, but it's a little less strict in how you take it because you just take it at home on your computer and you take your time and you can take it multiple times and it doesn't cost you any money. It's really just designed to keep us fresh on our skills and to know what the new pieces of technology that Microsoft has rolled out to make sure we're keeping up with it and we don't park our knowledge and we don't go anywhere. So we thought it would be an interesting time to talk about things like how it is we keep our skills current and also why we think it's important to do that and kind of share with you how some of us even got into the Dynamics world, the Power Platform, the M365 world, because this is not something we go to college to do. But here we are talking about it and you're watching it. So we figure you must have some interest in it. And we thought we would just talk about it. And I'm going to pull up and share some sites with you as we're talking. We just tried to do a brainstorm of what we thought might be interesting to share with you. Like right now you're looking at Microsoft Learn, which is learn.microsoft.com. And it's here. So anybody want to pick up from there and answer some of these questions, talk about your thoughts?
I'll go ahead. I would be speaking on behalf of newcomers. I'm more of a newcomer to the Dynamics and Power Platform space. So all of the Microsoft Learn resources were very helpful in making that transition, being able to build my skills and really get in there and learn all the different components that come together. It's very vast, the resource library that Microsoft Learn has. So they really do a great job of organizing those, all of the different modules into skill paths or learning paths. And then so you have that focus on, begin with the end in mind. You can see the whole path laid out before you. So that was very helpful to me to be able to guide my learning. Like you said, Patrick, this is something that you learn. You don't go to college to study. This is something that for me, it was a lot of self-guided study. That Microsoft Learn also has avenues for instructor-led options and a variety, just seemingly endless amount of resources to help you learn all these different platforms and how they intertwine. Microsoft Learn paths, learning paths have a lot of crossover. So you may have already learned certain pieces and you go to a different learning path once you've completed one, and you have chunks of those already completed. So you're not starting from scratch each time, and you're also learning how those pieces that you've already learned fit into that other learning path. So it was a really neat experience learning in this manner. I did it primarily in theory on self-study. I did not try the instructor-led courses. My approach was really to go through a variety of different learning paths and then be able to use study guides to prepare for a couple of exams and really to kind of test my knowledge and see if it all stuck through the theory. And then another component that was very helpful was to engage with the free trial offerings to be able to create real life scenarios, kind of dream those up, and then work to configure those solutions.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And we'll share some more of these sites as we're going through, and we'll come back around. Maybe we can add it to the bottom of the video when we post it on YouTube or something too, some of these links. What about you, Paige? You've probably been around longer than most of us in the space.
So these resources have definitely come a long way.
Yes.
For anyone that tried to use similar resources in the past, they weren't nearly as user-friendly, nearly as visually pleasing, nearly as approachable, I think, as they are now. Primarily before, it was a whole lot of learning through the Google and practical experience, which is still invaluable. Both of those tools are still invaluable. But using these sites that are curated and monitored and put together by Microsoft through, a lot of feedback from the community, it actually does make a difference. Used to be they didn't really listen as much to the community, but now more and more Microsoft is really listening to the community for beefing up things like the Microsoft Learn functionality that's available. So previously it was much more self-guided than it is in what you have available today.
Yeah.
I love what they've done with all of this stuff. It comes to your point, Paige, it comes such a far way at the ability, if you're looking at this screen in particular, like the add button, you sign in, you create your own profile, you can start to add the things that you're interested in. And then to Jennifer's point, sometimes you don't even realize you've picked 3 things, you work through one of them, and you've actually already knocked off 15 or 20 or 30% of another one because of all that overlap, which is wild to me. Speaking of Microsoft listening, I don't use Google, I use Bing, for the record, Microsoft. So just putting it out there.
Brown noser.
But they have come such a long way, and I love the format that they do it, because it's now a mix of videos and text and working through modules, and they kind of keep things like this. You can see there's 2 minute, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. They keep it nice and tight, so it's not like you're reading for 45 minutes on one page. All combined, yeah, you're working through this huge sequence. But when they do it in chunks like that, it just, to me, makes it feel much more manageable, and it's easier to digest because you're working away in chunks of information, which I love. So
and
super good stuff.
they're really leaning into the gamification, right, of
Yeah.
the learn, and also the challenges that they now have available, which are new to me. That people are competitive, and they're really leaning into that. The fact that people are competitive, so giving folks a challenge to be able to finish by a particular timeline, with some very practical rewards for some of them, right? So, for example, the one that Patrick's showing right now, I believe, if you complete the challenge successfully, you get either a % off or a free take one of these exams for free, which, as folks know,
this is the free one. If you complete this challenge, and notice it does have a time frame on it. So if it's June 19th, wherever you are when you're watching this, you've got 1 day to complete it. But then here's the list of exams that you can get us. What's
free
the word
ticket.
I'm looking for? A
Voucher.
ticket to pay for it. And so it's everywhere from the new AI stuff to Azure or Azure, depending on which continent and country you're in. You've got some stuff on Cosmos database here, and then you've also got Power Platform. So lots of different options there for you, and different types of challenges, depending on what you want to do. And then, Paige, I think you were also referring to this. They have the 30 days to learn it, where you commit to doing one of these. And I've highlighted Power Platform just because that's my natural space to go to. Doing an app maker for this exam, the PL 100. And for this one, if you complete it, you get half off the cost of the exam. So it's worth it. Now, one thing we haven't talked about, if we've got just a minute, is the thought of, I know when I was a system admin at a Microsoft customer site, I was incentivized to seek out these certifications. In other words, my employer, my supervisor at the time, they saw the value in my enriching my education. And for them, it was at a very low cost, because all of the learn, things are free. I mean, it didn't cost them anything. All they paid for was the exam to cover that for me. And even then, it's only $99 the last time I checked. I don't know what they are today. So anybody else have a similar experience out there? I know as consultants, it just shows our value as a consultant to some of our clients. But I know, Jennifer, you're probably the most recent out of the private non-consulting world. Did you ever have a similar experience to that? Did you have to ask about it, or?
I did have to seek it out, but once it was presented, it sparked. It caught on. I kind of needed to show, what was possible, and then from there on, there was definitely more adoption, and so that was exciting to be able to, bring that to other people in the organization. We even began to do a little internal gamifying because the organization I was with, we had a lot of folks with the competitive gene, myself included. So that just made it more exciting and more enticing.
Yeah, and if maybe someone watching this is more experienced in the space. Back in the day, when these first started rolling out and I started taking them, Microsoft did not offer these study guides. Jennifer brought this to our attention. For all the different types of exams, I'm just going to scroll through here. So there's tons here in all different spaces, including Power Platform, down here at the bottom. And also practice assessments, which are now available. And there are 20 right now. The site here says they'll be launching others soon, but this whole concept that you don't have to go out and find other companies and pay for these resources, Microsoft's making them freely available. But this isn't everything. And how are we doing on time, Malcolm? We're good?
Got a few minutes left. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Did you want to talk about?
And I was going to say just real quick, for anybody who has testing anxiety, something like this is huge, being able to do a practice assessment. And I know that also testing has come a long way. If you do go down the track where you want to get your certifications and want to test, I know they have a lot more options nowadays for anybody who has any testing anxiety and needs assistance with that. So be sure and look into those if that's a concern for you.
Definitely. And as far as I know, they also have some accommodations for people. And they also now have online proctored exams. If for some reason you're not near a Pearson VUE testing center, or for whatever reasons you need to be at home to take it, they now have some options there for you also. So we just keep saying it's come such a long way. So if you checked it out years ago, maybe come back and revisit it and think about it some more. We also want to talk about.
Just really quick add, and then I promise I'll let you continue. I just wanted to share that I have experienced the online, proctored exam. It's very simple and intuitive. It was a great experience going through that. And then also, I do have experience with helping my son with the accommodations portion, and Microsoft and Pearson have been fantastic through that process.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Cool.
That's good to know.
Yes, absolutely.
But we wanted to share with you also quickly that besides all the Microsoft resources, there are tons of other resources out there for you. And we'll highlight these because we know them firsthand because it's our stuff. But on our website, we have a resources section, which includes a variety of different things like blogs and some videos, including these. And then we've also got our YouTube channel over here that Malcolm curates for us and is our lead video producer. So you can come here, and besides these videos, tons of other things that we've got out on our site that you can check out. And you can also just get in touch with us and ask us more questions in case we've sparked your interest or you have concerns about it. I'm probably the lead test taker at C5. Just because I fortunately don't have testing anxiety. I think it's because I was a teacher for so long that it's just part of my DNA. But they can be unsettling. I will say, I can say this, I don't think I'm going to violate any sort of rules that I signed off on. These practice assessments that they've rolled out, it might load. This feels very much like what the actual assessment is like. Even down to the formatting of what question are you on, out of what, and this tracking bar, and the way that they ask questions are very similar. Now, what you don't have when you're taking the real exam is a check your answer button.
Aw,
Yes.
come on,
Unfortunately.
man.
Unfortunately.
It would make it nice, but unfortunately not. So if you just want to check yourself out, maybe you don't want to sit for an exam, but you just want to check yourself out, come and try one of these out. See how much you don't know.
Yeah, it's I think the bottom line of this whole interaction is really just all the resources that are available. Patrick, you said a few minutes ago, if you haven't looked in the last little while, because it used to be pretty atrocious, right? No
Yeah.
discredit to anybody. We're in a different era now where knowledge
Yes.
needs to be at your fingertips, and this is the expectation of people, and it wasn't before, and so it wasn't built this way.
Right.
But to their credit, what they're doing with it now and how easy and how quickly, new tools come out and the resources are pretty much right there to accompany the new tools, which is amazing because
Yeah.
you start to pair this with the release content that we've talked about in the past and how rapidly all this stuff evolves. It's really nice to have something like this to lean on and follow along and kind of go through your own learning path, to use the term, right? So
Yeah,
it's
and a
awesome.
big shout
It's
out
great
to
stuff.
Microsoft MVPs. I really think they are the ones who have driven this forward and modernized it for the rest of us. So we appreciate their volunteer efforts
Absolutely.
to get this to where it is today.
Well, and it does feel we are out of time for today, but it does feel like there's probably lots more that we could dig into,
So
right?
many, so much.
Individually, not
Sure.
even just this, but also that whole idea of how do you even keep up with the release cadence? Because there's so much, not the release guides, just across the entire platform, right? Like how do you decide what's valuable and what's not for your organization or for you as a consultant or whatever the case may be? So perhaps we'll
Right.
talk about that next time on Insights with C5 Insight. But for
Yeah.
today, we'll wrap up and thank everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See ya.